Get my code and soak it all in. My website's pull investors in. React View, solid, don't care. My abstractions, pop-up ads everywhere. Go ahead and try to reinvent the wheel. I'll be over here keeping my UI real. Mobile web, desktop, I got it all locked. While you write vanilla, my bank account rocked. Look at you crying, can't get a job. I built it all faster, watching you sob.
I know that you think that money's the key, but shortcuts ain't getting you dates, not for free. I'm over here building real products with C while you studying to invert a binary tree. Girls want someone who code like men, not a newbie. Your website runs slower than a dial-up movie. React's just a cope, JSX so screwy. Your hooks tangle up while my C code runs true, see?
React dev boy, your turn. My React stacks cash while you're crying broke. Your C so old, ain't nothing but a joke. Keep building your sites with slow-ass vanilla while I pop to your mom's house, give her a thriller. I'm here in my yacht that I bought with my stocks. You're over there shitting in your cardboard box. Hardware so fast, I ain't a damn fool. Ain't taking 6 years to build a damn tool. Vanilla dev girl, your turn.
Listen here, little punk, you think you're all that. You abstraction whore, join the cult of React. You seem to be coping with the penis quite small, so you blowed up your websites with npm install. Compensate hard, you use effect, bitch. Die alone, little man, but sure, you're rich. Keep building that shit, think it won't get you, but those loading spinners will totally end you.
Who do you think won this epic rap battle of programming?
What's up, everyone? I think I'm ready. I'm gonna turn down the music. That was my epic rap battle of programming song, number 1. I gotta make a few more. I'm working on it. Let me fix one more thing here. All right, there we go. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, welcome in, everybody. How the hell is everyone doing today? What's up, Laughing Panda? What's up, Pure? Everyone on X, how you doing? Make sure you say hi. If you're on YouTube, say hi. If you happen to be on Rumble, say hi. I'm watching the chat. I hope you're having a good Friday. All right, I hope you're having a good Friday. I'm having a good Friday so far. So far, so good. I'm a bit behind today. I'm a bit behind on a lot of different things today, but so far, so good. I hope you're all having a good Friday. So, Battle on Twitch says, I for one am looking forward to serving my silicone overlords. Yeah. I mean, who isn't? Who isn't looking forward to it? Imagine the day when the silicone overlords take care of everything for you. When you just hand over all your authority to them and they take care of everything for you. You wake up in the morning and everything's just taken care of for you. Isn't that the dream? Okay. So, I've got some run-of-the-mill news articles, you know, the stuff that we go over all the time here. The security hacks and the issues and the leaks and all of that. We'll cover a few of those. I thought I'd start with kind of a softball one. That's kind of a fun one. Define taken care of for you. Yeah. Yeah, pure. No, I don't want to define it, pure. I don't want to define that, because as soon as I define that, all the problems appear, and I don't want to admit that there are problems with that, world structure. There are no problems with that. As long as you don't define it, you're good, right? Kaz says a small part of me thinks it sounds good as long as I can sit and code whatever I want all day long. I mean, right? In an ideal utopian system, yeah, you would be able to sit and code whatever you want all day long. It'd be fine. You could do that. But alas, once you start defining that, not so much, huh? Not so much. Okay. Let's get into it. This is how socialism starts. Get out of here. Get out of here, you socialists, you bunch of socialists. All right, folks. So we're going to start off with a bit of a fun one. It's about Windows. So I get into it. Okay. Just before I get into it, just by opinion, based on like the 10 people who are watching me, what was peak Windows? Which version of Windows was peak? Based on your personal opinion. Just like a show of hands for like different versions. It's okay if only like 2 or 3 of you answer, because I don't have a lot of viewers right now that are coming in. But DOS, shut up, Battle. DOS 6, XP or 7, okay. XP, yeah, XP. Okay, so XP. Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Because I also agree. I think it's XP. I think XP was peak Windows. I do. However, let's get into the article. It's just a fun one. There's nothing in particular. It's just kind of to offset all the terrible, miserable, depressing news articles that I typically go over. Let me switch over to this guy and we'll switch the camera. I think that worked. It did. So, the Register. Okay, so Bill Gates was like, hey, let's celebrate 50 years of Microsoft, because why not? And he decided to release some kind of initial source code. I honestly didn't read it, so like don't ask me about the details. I don't really care. And then the Register decided, so this website decided that they would ask their readers which version of Windows they thought was peak Windows. The answer is Windows 2000, and Clippy killed it all. Clippy killed it all. Clippy killed Windows. So apparently, according to the readers of the Register, Windows 2000 seemed to attract the most affection. Yes, XP and Windows 7 received some love, and even Vista. Vista? What? I'm sorry. Who in their right mind actually thought Vista was peak? Who? I want to know who. I want names and addresses. What I would like to see is someone hack those people's information. We need to go to their homes. I'm just joking. Don't do that. It's just a joke. I'm kidding. I don't know how you can think Vista is like one of the peak ones of Windows. I think XP was peak. However, I can see perhaps an argument for why Windows 2000 was peak. And it might be because of the simplicity of Windows 2000. I actually had to go look up Windows 2000 interface. So I went and looked up, what Windows 2000 looked like, because like, obviously I have like I can remember it. Some of you can too. It's not like this is, of any particular thing that's hard to remember. But my argument as to why the readers of the Register thought Windows 2000 was peak would be because I think this right here. The user interface was not as overwhelming. It was far simpler. And I think it appealed to people who were using Windows and who have who have been along for the ride with Windows, compared to Let's say this. No, maybe let's do. Let me see if I can just pull up like a large one. Yeah, sure, this one, and we'll open it. Okay, so compared to this, right? So here's the differences. You've got this one, and then you've got this one. And I genuinely feel the tipping point is the user interface. As much as I like Windows XP's user interface design, I personally like it. It's a subjective thing. I think most people who are using Windows in these days were not necessarily, let's say, hinging their bets on whether Windows was good based on how it looked, more based on how it ran. And the simple user interface gave you a sense that there wasn't a lot of stuff. Like, again, this is a feelings thing, right? The simpler user interface made you feel like things were a lot simpler. And then you couple that in with the fact that it ran really well. Like it did its job really well. Like Windows 2000 was pretty reliable, generally speaking. You put those two things together, and I kind of feel that that's the tipping point between which of the two was peak. Right? So I might actually, I think I've been persuaded to agree with the readers of the Register year, and combining the simplicity of the UI of 2000 plus the fact that it ran really well, it gave you some sense of confidence. I tried to think of a good example to kind of like correlate that, and the best thing I could come up with was, imagine if you had two cars, and one vehicle was really fancy and new and modern and ran just about as well as an older vehicle or an older looking vehicle that had a more simplistic design, but they generally both ran pretty well. You might feel better when you're actually using the older vehicle. There's something about I used to have an old 1975 Pontiac Ventura. For any of you out there who know these kinds of cars, that's a tank of a car, and it ran really well. I mean, the thing had like over 300, 400,000 kilometers, and it was still running by the time I had it in like the late 90s. And the thing like ran, it was fine, but it felt like a tank. If I had a modern car that ran like that, I might not feel the same way about its ability and longevity just because of like that modern look. I'm not sure if I'm explaining what I'm trying to get across correctly. It's the closest example I could come up with. There's something about the older look, and you couple that in with the Taz is saying, the utility of it, and you combine those two things, and you just feel more like in with what's going on. Anyways, I'm not going to talk about this forever, but I just thought it was an interesting, fun little thing. I never outgrew Home Edition. I think it's still shipped with iOS. Yeah, but XP is all blue and shiny. Yeah. So anyway, I just thought it was like a fun little thing to talk about at the top of the news. So now let's get into the so depressing world. The tech world continues to depress and disappoint in vast ways. Shall we get into the daily tech news? That was a fun little side, right? I have honestly never heard of this term. Okay, I've never heard of smishing. What is smishing? I have not heard of this ever before. I don't know what the hell it is. Well, I didn't before I read the article. Now I do. I'm going to be honest. It sounds like degeneracy. Just real talk. Sounds like degeneracy. Yo, hey. Hey, what's up, hot stuff? Yeah, what's up? What's up, hottie? Yo, I gotta do the vocal fry, right? I gotta do the vocal fry. Okay, I gotta go deep in vocal fry. Yo, what's up? You looking mighty good over there. Hey, you down to smish? Would smish the ever-living hell out of you, know what I'm saying, baby? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm sorry. All right. So what is smishing? I think someone already figured it out. SMS with phishing. There's been an astonishing, I want you to look at this number. Right here. 604% surge in scam texts purporting to be toll fees this year. Gentlemen, we're barely 1/4 through the year, and there is a 604% surge of smishing. Can you guys please keep it in your pants? Please. Please keep it in your pants, all right? 604% rise in degenerate acts. So, okay. So how does this work, right? Let me just go down a bit. Not this one. Scammers are sending fraudulent texts about unpaid toll fees, luring victims to fake websites designed to steal sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, and credit card numbers. Guardio's report saw a 98% spike in such scam texts in March 2025 alone. These highly convincing texts are called smishing messages. They've already reached millions of consumers who use electronic toll collection systems. The text typically claims that a driver has an unpaid toll and that they should settle their bill using the provided link before late fees are applied. In other words, the cyber criminals are playing to a victim's psyche. This is kind of a form of social engineering with like technical and engineering, right? And engineering, I'm using engineering in terms of like hacking, right? It's not really hacking, but you get what I'm trying to say here, right? They're playing on a social aspect that is pretty common. You know, a lot of people will fall prey to this because, okay, so part of it is the novelty. If you think about it, these kinds of phishing scams typically happen in different spaces. So you might think of like people sending phishing scams for like your tax returns, or they pretend to be a company that you have an account with, like Microsoft. Hey, your account was hacked. We need you to log in, things like that. But this is more of like a novel. Like how many people have been receiving phishing messages about their toll booth systems? And so because it feels like a novel place, your assumption would be it's unlikely to be a phishing scam because I haven't seen people use it to phish me before. So it's I can see people not realizing that it is a trick, right? And it could happen. Even if people know that they don't have an outstanding bill, they might believe that there was an error from the toll company, and so they need to go in and figure out what the error was so that they can deal with it, right? So this is a novel. It's a pretty smart way to get people to fall for it, and then you can get all kinds of data that can prove further useful, right? Scammers have the easiest job. Yeah. If you're an unethical person who does not really care about people, it's not hard these days to make money. It isn't. It really isn't. And you can make money and just ignore the consequences of what you're doing, or just don't care about them. There are people who just don't care, and you can make lots of money. There's money to be made if you are an unethical person. Absolutely. Okay. Next. Okay, this one. Now, I won't read all of this article. Let me just zoom it out a little bit. But I did think it was an interesting article that outlined how the mandates for AI are causing problems with the programmers who work in companies that have these kinds of mandates. I thought this was really interesting, and I thought I would bring it up. 75% of company leaders thought their AI rollout over the past 12 months have been successful, but only 45% of employees said the same thing. Even those C-suite leaders who believe their AI integration is proceeding smoothly are handing down policies and tools to a workforce that is more frustrated than they are. For software developers specifically, there are concerns that AI coding tools are introducing errors into their code failing at many tasks, and compounding technical debt. But they also feel that misguided mandates are inhibiting the successful adoption of AI tools. While AI coding assistants can be helpful, it's clear that how leaders approach and support engineering teams makes all the difference. So, hey, Lawfully on YouTube, good to see you. By the way, hey, everyone on Twitch, not YouTube, Twitch. I see 0x, hello, good to see you. Battle, good to see you. Lightspeed, good to see you. 0x, good to see you. Taz, good to see you. Lawfully, good to see you. You guys are awesome, thank you. If you're on the X side or whatever, I can see your messages, so feel free to say hi and interrupt if you want. I'll be happy to say hi and give you a shout out. So I thought this was a good article because they did do a study, or a survey, I should say, and you can find the survey over here. And I went and looked at it. You have to fill in your information, then they send you a download for it. I believe this one was free, so it was easy to get my hands on it. But I thought this was like I don't know exactly how to say it, but it's something along the lines of like light at the end of the tunnel, where I am happy to hear that programmers who have to work in these AI systems understand that AI is not all it's cracked up to be, and the disparate view or the differing view between the programmers, developers who work in these companies and the executives who mandate AI in these companies is large enough to cause a gap. That to me is a good thing, because like I've said before, and I think some people would agree, AI has its place. There are places where AI has niche use cases that it's really good for. And that I think is true in particular aspects of programming. But to send out mandates where you're replacing entire teams, or you're mandating that a programming team has to use a specific portion of code generated by AI, things like this, then I think you're off the deep end. And I am glad that there are programmers who, at least according to this survey, it's 500 people. That's why I went down here, because I wanted to highlight how many people it is. So it's not a lot, honestly. And I don't know if you can say that it's vastly representative. It might not be, but I hope that it is, because if there are enough programmers and developers out there who understand when AI is good and when it isn't, they can kind of push that messaging back up to the executives. You guys have to remember that we have a lot more power to have some say over the tools and mechanisms that we use. And we don't wield that power as much as we should. If you're one of the programmers who has to work in a company like this, or you find yourself to be one in the future, you have the ability to push back along with your fellow colleagues and say, hey, look, Mr. Executive, I know what you're trying to do here, but this isn't going to work. It's not good for the company, and it's not good for us. So I'm kind of hopeful. This is kind of like giving me an indication that maybe there are more programmers who understand where AI fits and where it doesn't, more than not. Because before this article, I thought there was basically nobody who truly understood it. So I just wanted to highlight that, because I think it's a positive sign, potentially, hopefully. We'll see what happens. But executives need to get their heads out of their own butts and realize that they're going to cause themselves a lot of harm. They're really only harming themselves. Because what's going to happen is, if programmers leave because you're making stupid decisions, at the end of the day, you're going to need them back. The programmers that you forced to leave because you didn't listen, or because you ran on a fad or whatever, they're not the ones who are going to suffer. It's you, and then you're going to need them back in the future. So stop doing that. Let me see. The next one I had, yes, right here. Hackers exploit WordPress plugin auth bypass hours after disclosure. Hackers started exploiting a high-severity flaw that allows bypassing authentication in the AutoKit, formerly SureTriggers plugin for WordPress, just hours after public disclosure. So make sure you upgrade to the latest version. If you use this plugin in WordPress, please be careful. Okay, and the article describes the way that the vulnerability works. It's a missing empty value check in the authenticate user function, which handles REST API authentication. This seems like a simple thing that people shouldn't allow to go out the door. However, I'll try and be fair and say that this could easily have been missed, because something like this could escape someone's cursory eyeballs. So I can understand how this gets out the door, but it feels so simple. I'm just a little bit surprised. Anyways, if you're using WordPress or you know someone who is or whatever, just be mindful of this in case you're using this particular the AutoKit plugin. All right. Let's see. Sensata Technologies hit by ransomware attack impacting operations. So Sensata said that it was hit by a ransomware attack last weekend. It had encrypted parts of the company network and disrupted operations. So the operations that it impacted were shipping, receiving, manufacturing, production, and other support notifications. They develop, manufacture, and sell a wide range of sensors and sensor-rich solutions, as well as electrical protection components and systems. The company's products are for automotive, aerospace, and industrial applications. Now, I want to highlight this article for a more specific reason other than the ransomware attack. It does not go into details about how they were impacted. Okay, I read it a few times. I couldn't find exactly what happened. However, let's assume that it's like, I don't know, something that was like a really complicated hack. They dotted their I's and crossed all their T's. Let's just assume that. I wanted to bring up this article not for that reason, but for a different reason. What industries does this company serve? And that, I think, is one of the things people forget about these kinds of hacks and security issues. There is a real world downwind consequence of favoring our developer experience, for example, catering to the lowest common denominator of programmers, abstractions and obfuscation, not encouraging programmers and DevOps and sysadmin and executives and so on, not encouraging them to really understand what they're doing. It leaves doors open for these kinds of attacks. And when these kinds of attacks happen, it can disrupt real lives. You might think that the damage is limited to a company, and you might even be happy about it if you don't like the company. But companies serve other companies. Companies serve people like you and me. Companies build products and support distribution chains that power things that you and I take for granted all the time. When we stop caring about the quality, security, and reliability of our work, it actually only harms ourselves. We think that we might have a limited set of damage to a company's like operational profits or whatever, and we go, ha ha ha, a rich person has to pay more because they wanted, I don't know, more work out of me to do better work, or something along the lines. Something like, insert any kind of argument you might have, but I think that's a very narrowly scoped argument. This is an example of how an entire supply chain could be adversely disrupted in a way that could impact you and me. And we often don't think about those in a long-term way. And I wish more of us would. Okay. I thought this one was kind of another fun one. If you know what the Flipper Zero is, it's a little like hacking well, I guess it's not really a hacking tool, but it's a little tool you can plug in all kinds of stuff into it. If you're an ADHD person out there, you might like this, but it's really expensive. It's like $200 or $300, but they created this thing to help you stay focused. I thought it was really cool. I just thought I'd bring it up. It's the Busy Bar. If you want to go look it up, I don't have that problem. I have no problem staying focused and whatnot. So I don't really have a need for this, but I do know some people, some of my viewers have ADHD diagnosed and whatnot. So I don't know, just thought I'd bring it up as like a little reprieve from the normal stuff that we talk about. All right. Hackers target SSRF bugs in EC2 hosted sites to steal AWS credentials. A targeted campaign exploited server-side request forgery vulnerabilities in websites hosted on AWS EC2 instances to extract EC2 metadata, which could include identity and access management (IAM) credentials from the IMDS v1 endpoint. Retrieving IAM credentials allows attackers to escalate their privileges and access S3 buckets or control other AWS services, potentially leading to sensitive data exposure, manipulation, and service disruption. I will, as a heavy user of AWS in past companies, I'm going to suggest to you, you can create multiple IAM credentials, and I would encourage you to do so. Create narrowly scoped IAM credentials if it's possible for you to do so. That way, at the very least, if somebody gets their hands on one, they have a very limited scope upon which they can use that specific credential. If you can do that, please do that. The effort level is minimal. It's a little bit more annoying because you have to manage and balance multiple credentials and whatnot, and insert them into your environment keys and so on. But it's worth it, because if you do something stupid, or you overlook something, or there's an exploit that you aren't aware of, it's going to greatly decrease the scope of anybody who gets their hands on one of these. So the malicious activity culminated between March 13 and 2025, and the pattern strongly suggests that it was carried out by a single threat actor. So essentially, how this works, it enables attackers to trick a server into making HTTP requests to internal resources on their behalf, which usually are not accessible by the attacker. So what you would do is you'd locate a website hosted on EC2 with an SSRF flaw, and you remotely query the internal EC2 metadata URLs and receive sensitive data. So that data can include all kinds of credentials that you can use to do whatever you want. This kind of stuff can be locked down. For example, you could do URL-based lockdowns. You could ensure that nobody can access particular URL paths. There's all kinds of ways to mitigate this kind of stuff. And the effort level to mitigate it is actually really, really small. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It's probably in the order of minutes. Again, we really, really, really have to be careful about basic operational things that we seem to be forgetting all the damn time. There's a trend that apparently this company F5 Labs reports on, where they found the 4 most exploited CVEs over the past month. And I thought it was interesting that of the top 4, 2 are PHP. It's not looking good for PHP bros. And that's all I'm going to say to it as a PHP bro. I don't want to admit that this is true. However, these numbers are crazy. 69,433 attempts for an eval standard input PHP CVE. That's pretty crazy. And this one's kind of an old one too. Reported in 2017. I mean, and the exploitation volumes. Whoo! Damn. So I thought this was a nice little finishing touch to this article, because like we've gone over before many times, the CVE stats are through the roof. I just love bringing up. I love bringing up this. Yep. These are the number of CVEs published per year. I just want you to take a look over on the right-hand side, 2015 to 2025, and I just want you to see the exponential growth. I mean, we're talking like, in some cases, more than double. I just want you to, I just love bringing this up because this is the state of the industry. Just let that sear into your eyeballs, okay? 2015 to 2025. That's insane. Okay. South Korea group claimed by Chilin, I think, ransomware gang. 1 trillion stolen files. South Korean group, or SK Group, I think it's South Korean. Yeah, it is South Korean. Global energy and manufacturing giant is claimed by the Chilin ransomware group on Thursday, along with an alleged 1 terabyte cache of stolen files. So they had, it's a multi-manufacturing and services conglomerate. And they were threatened with 48 hours to take action. And I mean, a terabyte is huge. That's a huge set of files. So they're a leader in the energy, telecom, and semiconductor industries, operating more than 175 companies globally, including the information and communications technology, advanced materials, biopharmaceuticals, mobility, life sciences, and EV batteries sectors, the company's website states. They're headquartered in Seoul with over 260 global affiliates and over 80,000 employees worldwide, which makes them a prime target. Now, again, this kind of thing is exactly how hackers like this can attack and kind of ruin things that you and I take for granted. Because if this company suddenly cannot operate in the way that it could before, that has a huge disruption to people's way of lives. So for good or for bad, hate the company or don't hate the company, whatever company it might be, there are still real world consequences to these things. And I think we often forget it. I believe that was basically the point of the article. I just wanted to bring this one up as like just another nail in the coffin of the tech industry. Bank of China and DBS confirms data breach through compromised printing partner. Yet again, a third-party partner has left a door open. And I mean, the Bank of China is not like a small thing. So the DBS is headquartered in Singapore, and the Bank of China is obviously, well, I don't think they tell you where they're headquartered. I'm sure you could look it up. But they had thousands of people affected. So 8,200 customers for DBS and 3,000 for Bank of China. And they sent out paper letters to tell them. So they were trying to keep it on the down low. You don't want to send digital information on that. But I guess it's a third-party printer. They had to stop all the printing jobs in order to mitigate the exposure. And as a result, customers' names, addresses, and in some cases, the loan account numbers of their customers were exposed. Now, they say that the accounts remain secure and fully operational. Even if that's true, I think once again, this is proof. Well, I don't know about proof, but this is just another case where handing off your responsibility to a third party, well, it has consequences. And it's about time that we stop doing this crap because we do it way too much. We hand off our responsibilities to a third party in all kinds of ways, and we really have to slow that down. It's causing way more problems than it's solving at this point. The last one that I have, if you live in Morocco, Godspeed. Hackers breach Morocco's social security database in an unprecedented cyber attack. Morocco's social security agency said troves of data were stolen from its systems in a cyber attack this week that resulted in personal information being leaked on the messaging app Telegram. The North African Kingdom Social Security Fund administers pensions and insurance benefits to millions of private sector workers, from assembly line laborers to corporate executives. It said in a statement Wednesday that preliminary investigations suggests that the leak resulted from hackers bypassing its security systems. They don't know who's responsible, and they claim that many of the documents posted were misleading, inaccurate, or incomplete. So maybe they didn't get everything. Maybe they lied about how much information they got. But even if they got a few, just imagine that you are someone who's just a regular Joe Blow. You're an assembly line laborer, and you're one of the few people, let's say, who got their social security information captured from this hack. Your life could be completely and utterly destroyed. And you're just a regular person. You work hard every day. Maybe you're taking care of a family and some kids. Maybe not, doesn't matter. You're not a nobody, but in comparison, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, you're just a nobody who gets their lives ruined because of something like this. Now, they don't go into exactly what kind of details the social security information had, but you can imagine that social security information would have, at the very least, financial records of some kind and personally identifiable information that someone could use to, like, take over your let's say accounts, or use for identity fraud. That could ruin your life. So I feel bad because of regular people who are affected by these things. And I feel especially bad because I belong in an industry where a lot of the times this stuff could be easily avoidable, but we've got our heads too far up our own asses to avoid it. So that's it. That's what I have for tech news for the day. And I wanted to round it off with a couple of minor things that are not related to tech news. Let me just see what chat's up to. People hand off to third parties. Yeah, that's really scary. Yes. When you hand off your authentication methods to third parties, when you hand off, I don't know, when you hand off printing banking information to a third party, like, I could see an argument for why you would do this, but also I can't. I don't know. Coupling that with the fact that we are really bad right now at managing security, handing off to third parties, especially security stuff, it's almost like it should be a non-starter right now until we see these rates go down or stabilize. I just don't understand how you would go, yeah, let's hand off security to a third party. This is crazy. Okay, let me jump over to something a little different, just to end the stream. I did want to shout out Datastar. So I've had Delaney on for a couple of interviews already. Datastar is a project that he and others have been working on, where they basically prove that the frameworks and libraries like React today are absolute insanity. They're stupid. They're asinine. And they're basically just cults that want to self-perpetuate by getting you to buy into their whatever they're preaching. So one of the things that happened, I think today, I think in the last few hours, yeah. So somebody put this Hacker News post about an older article covering Datastar, and Anders Murphy here. I know I talked to him a little bit offline, just in the Datastar Discord, and nothing too serious, just a little bit. So I've seen what he's been working on, and he did something really cool. And I just wanted to bring this up because I wanted to demonstrate that the web has become kind of like Satan's asshole of programming. And this is an example of what it looks like when you have not Satan's asshole. So he came up with this. This is the game of life using Datastar. And it sends, I believe, it sends something like 2,500 div elements a second. And it's all multiplayer. Let me have a look. Yeah. So if I just try and pull one of the, I don't think I can because it's going by so fast. But if I click on one of these, right? So all of these movements are other people currently clicking like I am. This thing is insane. And what happened was when they went on Hacker News, I can't remember if it's this one. Oh no, it was the Datastar. It's this one got, yeah, they took down the to-do list because they got like hit and with a bunch of traffic, and the server itself couldn't handle the traffic. So, but I thought this was really interesting because of the number of, yeah, look. Right. So that's a lot of people clicking right now, and I don't have there's no problem here running. So I just wanted to highlight this. I thought this was a really interesting use case for a library or framework that, even though you could consider it an abstraction, okay, or an obfuscation of underlying principles, it sticks to something that I think more people need to stick to. If you are going to create an abstraction, at least make it lean in the right direction. And that direction is speed and performance and reliability. And I think this is the right direction. I may disagree with some of the principles of it. I might have a few like disagreements here and there, or even a fundamental disagreement with it. But this is the direction I want to see things go in, not in the direction of React, Vue, Svelte, Solid, all of that stuff, where essentially all they do is they just obfuscate and abstract even more. Right. So I just wanted to bring this up because I think that we've had this power, the web development in particular, but just the programming landscape has had this power for a long time, and we've just neglected it. And it's a damn shame. But I like seeing this kind of thing. And to that end, or along those lines, I mean, I am going to try out Datastar for my video game. And so this leads into a little bit of an update for tomorrow. I'm going to do a video game stream tomorrow. We'll spend a few hours working on the video game for a while. But I've come up with like a UI that I generally am okay with using for the time being. Let me see if I can pull up the other one here. Yeah. So I've come up with a UI that I'm okay using for the game. And at this point with the game, we've come up with Laughing Panda on the Twitch side has some new assets that we're going to start using for the battles and the overworld. And I have game mechanics and story that I need to go over as well tomorrow. And in the next 1 to 2 weeks, I would like to use Datastar and just play around with it and just see what I could come up with if I were to use it for like the multiplayer version. Could I send a whole bunch of div elements down, because that's what my game operates on the server side, and maintain a multiplayer version with Datastar? I just want to try it out. And so I'll have someone from Datastar come on, and we'll pump out some PHP code for the multiplayer server just to try it out and see what it's like and give it a shot. And maybe, I don't know, trash talk it or whatever. Might be a bit of a fun little side project for a few hours. So that's coming up. So I thought I'd share that about tomorrow and about the streams I have coming up. But that's it. That's all I got. So obviously tomorrow, I'm not going to have a daily tech news stream. I'm going to do the video game stream instead. So I don't know exactly when, probably approximately close to the same time as right now, whatever time it's in for you. And we'll spend a few hours, like, I'll go as long as I can, and we'll work on the video game, just do a chill stream, get back to the roots of the stream. And then, I don't know about Sunday, but Monday I'll be back with the daily tech news stream. I'll keep it going. I think that's it. I think that's all I got. Listen, everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching again. I appreciate it. Help me out if you like the kind of stuff I go over on this stream. If you like the messaging, if you want me to talk more, do more of these kinds of streams, argue with people online, regardless of how big an influencer heavy they might be. I don't care who you are. I will argue these logical ideas about the state of the industry to anybody, and I have done so. If you want me to keep doing that, and you want me to keep trying to encourage people like you and others like you to do better, then help me out. I need to play the algorithm game as much as I hate it, and I can't do that without you guys doing the like and the subscribe and whatnot. And you guys have been awesome about it, because I might as well just quickly show just before I end. This, thanks to you guys, honestly. I mean, 16,000 subscribers on YouTube. I have like an insane number of views. Some of my videos are getting hundreds of views. I have some content here that people did not like, but that's fine. I mean, you guys are helping me out. All the likes, all the reposts, the subscribes. It's not about the money. You don't have to send me your money or anything like that. I appreciate it, but that's not really what this is about. You guys are absolutely making an impact. I can see it, because the last like 2 months have seen insane growth on YouTube. So I really appreciate it. If you want me to keep doing more, and you want me to go out there and continue, spreading this kind of message, definitely help me out. It's the only way that I can expand my own reach, so that I can continue spreading the message that you guys want me to spread. All right. So I appreciate all of you, all the views, all of that. You guys are awesome. That's it. That's all I got. I'm waiting for your next React tutorial. Low key battle for April Fool's Day. I considered doing a React tutorial. Just for April Fool's Day. I considered doing a React April Fool's stream. I did. I really did. Downloads React RMRF, yeah. So anyways, thanks everybody on all the different platforms for watching today. I really appreciate it. Including on Rumble. There's like 1 or 2 of you. On X, man, like 40 people watched on X. I guess that's crazy. All of you on Twitch, you guys are awesome. So like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. And you guys stay safe, please. Okay? Please stay safe out there. It's dangerous. All right? Have a good day. Have a good night. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And I will see you for the video game stream tomorrow. All right. We'll have some fun. See you all tomorrow. Well, I'll put the Discord link in tomorrow. We'll do that tomorrow. But if you want to join the Discord, join the Discord. And Mike, if you end the stream now, I'm spreading it is perfect. I'm ending the stream now, Mike. Peace out, Mike. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.